So can you tell me a little bit about what the Earth Day Network is all about and what you guys do?
Can you hear me? Okay. We're the organization that came out of the first Earth Day. And so back in 1970, as you know, Earth Day brought 20 million people out on the streets, the largest event of its kind ever to date in the world. And out of that came many environmental laws which were exported to other countries. Many countries now have tougher laws than we do. But together, Earth Day Network has about 50,000 groups in its network, and we are in 195 or 96 countries.
That's great. So one thing I know you work to do is diversify the whole anti-climate change and environmental movement. Can you tell me a little bit about that and why it's so important?
Yes, our Earth Day Network's mission is to diversify, educate, and activate the environmental movement worldwide. We really believe that, and this has been our mission for many, many years, and our goal is to make the environmental movement, the face of the environmental movement, reflect what the world's all about. Not just because the world is very diverse and incredibly wonderful, but because the people who will have the worst impacts of climate change and other environmental issues are not the people that are rich and in power, it's everybody else. And so we want the movement to reflect the people who will be the backbone of the environmental movement, who represent the face of the environmental movement, who will suffer the consequences of what's gone wrong with the world, but who will also be the beneficiaries, get the jobs, get the training, become educated. And so we're working really hard, and it's working out really well for us. I think as the world changes, Earth Day Network's been in the vanguard, and now we have lots of people joining us.
Yeah, one thing you mentioned is education on climate change and climate science. Why do you feel that education is so important in achieving what we need to do?
Well, our goal is to have universal environmental and climate literacy by 2020. It's a bold goal. I don't think we'll make it, but I don't think we can prepare our children, our students, our university students worldwide, and people who aren't going to college for jobs of the future. We need everyone to know how to benefit from this, how to participate in fixing it. If you look at the climate agreement, there are all these sections about how civil society should be engaged in helping them solve the crisis. There isn't a roadmap, there aren't many details, and so it's up to us to make sure everybody knows what's going on and that they have, again, the opportunity to participate both in the solution, the opportunities, the jobs, and to protect themselves from what, unfortunately, we think will happen. Despite this wonderful agreement, we have a long way to go.
And why do you feel that young people are so important and so powerful in fighting climate change?
Well, I think youth have a lot to lose, and they have a lot of time on their hands. As it turns out, I remember when I was your age, I became incredibly active in environmental issues and social justice issues. And I think youth have the energy, the stamina, the fervor, the passion. They're not worn down by life. And so they tend to be the great leaders and the great movement builders. And we have to give them the opportunity to take over. They're the next generation, the one that are going to live with the damage. And so we need them educated, active, and ready to take the lead to solve this. It's going to last way beyond my lifetime and unfortunately yours. So it's your children and grandchildren who will still be cleaning up the mess that the Industrial Revolution and the rest of us created.
And how do you think the Paris Climate Agreement that is being signed today will help to fight climate change and act as a driving force?
Well, I think it's the first step. Nobody thinks it will alone do the job, but I also think that it does have enough sort of force behind it. Lots of countries have signed on, including all of the major emitters. And so it's a first step in the right direction, and I honestly think it's a combination of civil society, government leaders, business, all of whom will be setting their own goals, moving at their own pace, but the market will take over, and whether we like it or not, it's time to give up the horses and move on to a greener economy. It's the same thing that happened in the Industrial Revolution that'll happen now. It's all going to change, and we want everybody to enjoy the benefits, financial, environmental, and health benefits, and not just put it in the hands of a few entrepreneurs. So we want to spread around the wealth of this great change that's coming as while we sit here.
Yep. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate it.
Yep. You're a great interviewer.